Welcome to the Naked Coach Collective. We're not just your average coaches, we're your powerhouse of inspiration and your no-nonsense guide to unlocking your hidden potential. We are an eclectic mix of four, each with a unique journey, but we share a passion for transformation through coaching. Tune in every week for topical discussions and witty banter on all things coaching. There might be a few laughs along the way too, but don't be fooled. We're serious about helping you navigate life's twists and turns with clarity and confidence. Are you ready? Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in the Naked Coach Collective podcast.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Naked Coach Collective. I'm your host, Darshana Qureshi, aka D, and I'll be hosting today's podcast and interviewing a very special guest, Manish Gohel. Hi, Manish.
Hi.
Well, now, Manish is an NLP master practitioner. He has his own coaching and training consultancy where he provides NLP training as well as executive and group coaching. All this and much more. I can't wait to find out. So come on, let's find out. Manish, welcome to our podcast. Thank you for joining me today. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's been I'm going to say a non-productive day, but it's been a productive day in the sense of just resting and relaxing. So it's been good. Fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you ready? Here we go. Well, I want to know all about you. Okay, so I'm going to go for it. Right. I love what you're putting out on social media. I think you've got a really positive vibe, lots to offer our listeners. So let's get going. Tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are right now?
In a nutshell, what triggered me getting into coaching was my divorce. And it was basically at the time of when things are happening in my life, there wasn't a lot of support for guys out there. And reaching out and finding support was difficult, especially where I am as well. I didn't have a lot of family local to me as well. Friends were kind of dispersed out. And I found coaching to be something that really supported me in the sense of, I did go counselling myself as well, which was helpful. But then I kind of felt lost on what do I do for the next 7 days until my next appointment. I didn't really have any tool to work with. And that's where coaching really kicked in for me, and where I started helping out other parents as well to get them to see their kids, whether it's mum or dad, helping them to get the emotion out of things. Because obviously during the divorce, it does get very emotional. And we're in that kind of hamster wheel, and just go round. And if you're on your own, you're coming out with new answers. Often they're the same things you're coming out with as an answer rather than something new. And you don't really ease the pain.
No.
Because you're just thinking about it again and again and again, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's nothing to distract you. There's nothing to look at, okay, this is what happened. We can look at the past, or we can look at something in the future. What is it you want to build upon? And that's where coaching comes in. So I did have a lot of people once I found the sources, which took me some time. I wasn't in a very, very good way emotionally. It took me about a year to actually get some decent support. But eventually I did, which was really, really good.
Right.
But then a couple of years later, I went and did my own, I did a self-esteem course, which I didn't realize about. And that really helped. I didn't understand it was like a lack of self-esteem or not knowing myself. That wasn't helping me, because I'll come out of all these excuses that I have to be in a certain way to enable life to flourish for me. If not, something negative is going to happen. And all of that was made up in my head. So after going on this weekend course, it gave me a lot of clarity. And that then drove me to do an NLP practitioner course, which I was really interested in before. But never divorced, didn't have the fund for it. So over time, saving a bit of money up, managed to find a local trainer, and I did my course. That was back in 2012, I believe it was.
Oh, wow.
And then a couple of years later, did my master, and then that kind of developed into other training courses as well. And I used to go to as many courses as I could to try and pick up the information, whether it was an NLP course or any sort of coaching course, because wherever you go, you're always going to pick something new up. So that's what I continually did. And then I just started helping, mums and dads, as I said. Used to run local events in Milton Keynes, helping mums and dads see their children and be kind of focused onto the years to come ahead. How do they see things? How can they visualize things and build things up from there? So that was my gains, I guess.
So actually, through helping other people, you help as well.
Yeah, it's weird because this is what I say to people who are going into coaching as well. Sometimes when I was doing the coaching initially, helping somebody else made me forget about what I was going through, which is great, but it's not always brilliant. In a sense of you might forget about your situation by helping somebody else. That's okay, I think. But on the flip side, as soon as you get home, you close the door behind you, you're then working on yourself again.
Absolutely. And so that you started to bring NLP into this, didn't you? And I know, because I know your bio, you trained with Richard Bandler.
Yeah, I did Richard Bandler training that was a few years ago. So that was 21, I think it was.
Wow.
So yeah, literally 3-4 years just after lockdown. Did all my practitioner courses prior to that locally. Went to various events, did some executive coaching as well. Then I saw Richard Bandler in the US. I can't remember if I did the US one first. No, I saw him first in Amsterdam. He did a hypnosis event there, went to that. And then from there, a few years later, went to Orlando, where he does his courses in the US. I think I went there 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row. I can't remember now. I'm due to go again, hopefully next year or year after as well. But it's just a vibe when you get there, when he's teaching you, it's just straight to the point. And that's what I'm like with my clients. I can do the softly approach, but I say to my clients, look, if you want softly, let's go speak to your parents or your brothers and sisters. But you want to see change happening straight away or quicker, then I will be direct. And I'm not the one to give the option of, do you want me to say it nicely or do you want me to just be really clear about it?
Just straight down the line.
Yeah, and I find that if I'm straight down the line, they do take it on board. Come out of their own answers.
Do you know, I totally agree with you. I'm sort of probably a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Now, I just realized that we mentioned Richard Bandler, but there may be some listeners out there who don't know who he is.
Right.
So if you can tell me quickly who he is, and then maybe just a little golden nugget of something you've picked up from one of your trainings with him or along the way.
Yeah, so Richard Bandler is one of the co-founders of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It was back in the 70s. I won't go for the whole history of it, but it was himself and John Grinder that developed NLP. And one of the things with him was I had this with me, and I guess everyone's got this, where they think something's going to happen that's negative. And as I was saying to him, this was literally 2 years ago, talking about my business where I want to try and lead it. And I was very open, thinking, look, I know exactly where I want to get to, and this is what I was doing in my hand, exactly where I want to get to, but I always have this image here, right there. And all he said was, just swap them around. What are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I know what it means, but it was literally swapping them around. So it was literally, the negative stuff was there in front of me.
Yeah.
And the success was here on my left, which is in my mind, my past. And I'm thinking, my success is behind me. So why don't I swap them around? So put the negative here, because I'm going to ignore that and forget about just in my past, and the success in front of you. So I've got something to look towards, to head towards, right? And it was a simple thing. And it's like, oh yeah. And he just dropped. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And the ironic thing about this is I know about that, about the whole process and the timelines with my clients. I'm working with them a bit. Notice how they use their hands to describe different environments or where they're looking at things and the whole kind of spatial awareness. But yeah, when it's for yourself, it's sometimes a bit more challenging. And that's where possibly ego kicks in and stops me from realizing my own kind of potential as well, right? So that's so important to realize that and actually ask those questions on people. So yeah, that was one of the ultimate things, and loads of other work he's done. I won't go through the details because obviously all the participants there as well in the room. But if anyone's got an opportunity to go see Richard Bandler, go to one of his live trainings, definitely go to it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's I love listening to you, and I'm going to ask you one more question, if I may. We need to wrap this up. Any budding, aspiring coaches out there listening, what advice would you have for them?
So if you're someone who wants to get into coaching, what I would suggest is go and get your coach yourself. Go and get a coach for yourself.
Right.
And, try a couple of different coaches, go to various events just to find out what it is that you like about coaching.
Mhm.
Father coaching as well. Because there's so many different modalities out of coaching. Some things may work for you, some things may not. I
Thank you.
go and look around for.
Absolutely. And do you think that, sure you study at reputable providers and getting your certificates and accreditations are important?
I'm going to say yes, as well as a caveat of no as well, because a lot of companies were developed from nothing, right? I'm going to say, or one person thought, right, let's create an organization or a group of people that then developed it. So if you've got smaller companies or individuals, don't knock them. They've got no experience. Just find out who they are. Me being one of them, for example, with NLP side of things, just speak to them. Pick up the phone and speak to them. Find out what you can get from them. Yeah, check their background, check their accreditations as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Cool.
do it that way.
Uh-huh.
But don't think that you need to go for the big companies, because they will charge a lot of money. I'm not saying don't do it, but
Well,
they're not cheap.
no, they're not deep. All right. Thank you very much for that. Manish, so how do we get in touch with you? Somebody really likes what you're saying.
So hopefully in the comments, wherever this goes out,
Amen.
my web address will be there, so manishgohel.com. Just send me an email, info@manishgohel.com, and I'll get back in touch with you. And there's a contact page on my website as well. Please feel free to reach out, have a quick chat.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed listening to you and talking with you today. I hope our listeners have too. And Manish Gohel, I'll see you soon. Follow up. Thank you very much.